And welcome to another Thursday treasure hunt here at Creative Expressions. We've got another amazing deal for you this Thursday evening, which I'll be sharing with you in just a moment. Now, don't forget, if this is the first time that you've caught one of our treasure hunts here on the Creative Expressions channels, then make sure you do like and subscribe, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, or maybe you've moved across to a new platform and found us. Do make sure you hit the button to like and subscribe us so that you can be kept up to date with all the videos, but also the next treasure hunt. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. we come out with another amazing exclusive bundle here on these channels with an exclusive saving for just that 1 week only or until stocks last. And I will share with you very soon just what we've got on this week's treasure hunt deal. Now, if you've not been here before, I'm James Hembrough. I'm part of the Creative Expressions demonstrators team, so you may have caught me before on Hobby Maker or possibly here on Treasure Hunt. If you haven't seen us before, then please do make sure you keep watching us. We've had some amazing deals already since we started this, and they've gone down an absolute storm with sellouts, so make sure you're quick. I'm just going to take you across to my craft desk. This is what I tend to do. This is my own personal working space. I'm going to show you exactly what we've got on this week's treasure hunt and what I've managed to find for you. So on this week's deal, I've managed to find some amazing little goodies in the back of the Creative Expressions warehouse this week for you. We've got a great selection, all sorts, a real mix of inks, dyes, some embellishments, some micro beads, quite a mixed bag actually I've put together for you this time, which is something a little bit different. So we'll start off with a couple of Sue's dies that I've got here. We've got the Beach Wave collection, which is one really nice big die that's here is one piece. If you've not seen me before, you'll know that I saw all my dies on magnetic sheets from Woodware. Great little sticky back way of storing all of your dies nicely on the packaging, just as a little tip there. But this is a terrific little die. I'll show you some fantastic samples with this in a moment as well. We've also got here the Message in a Bottle from Sue. This is a three-part die with the ability for it to work in with this little treat cup that I've got. These come in a set of 5. So that's also included in this week's treasure hunt bundle I've got for you. We've got 2 of the Simon Hurley die ink pads. These are terrific Ranger quality ink pads, full-size ink pads, 2 stunning colours. I'll show you how to use those to watercolour, blend and mix the colours together. We'll be doing that later on in a little demo. And we've got 2 little pots here of 2 different types of beads. We've got a metallic micro bead, which is a copper colour here that I'm going to be showing you in a while. I will open that one up when we make a start. And also some clear micro beads here from Creative Expressions as well. Slightly larger, but perfectly clear. Great for using with our shaker cards and also as embellishments as well. I'm going to show you how we're going to use those in a little bit on our demo. So if you've not seen me before here on these treasure hunts, how it works, I'm going to introduce to you all of these goodies here, just what they cost. So the RRP for the 2 dies, the ink pads, the micro beads, and also the metallic, the glass beads as well, and also the treat cup pack, the 5-in, all that comes to £58.94 is the RRP collectively. But we're not going to be looking for that. We want a far better deal on our treasure hunts, and some of you will know where this is going if you've seen me before. For this deal here in front of us today, for 1 week only, is just $29.99 for absolutely everything you see here on my desk, and that's with free UK postage as well, out from Creative Expressions website. So if you're interested in this deal, why not? Make sure you use the links below there in the description. Wherever you're watching me right now, you'll find the description, the link in the description rather, to a site where you'll be able to get this amazing treasure hunt deal. And you'll also find any other little projects or tips, as well as some of the other products I'll be using throughout the demo. All those links will be in the bottom if you're interested as well to go and find those on our site. So this deal today, just $29.99 down from $58.95. I think it's up there with one of the best deals that we've done. We've had a few like this where they've been a really cracking deal, nearly 50% off, and I'd get on quick. This is going to be a great one, especially this die here. This is a real killer, really universal on the different things you can do with it. So let's have a quick look at what the design team have been up to. We've got some amazing cards here by Siobhan that I want to share with you. I'm just going to share a couple of cards with you first from Sue Wilson herself. We've got some of Sue's designs here that are absolutely terrific, and it's using this beach wave design. Now, don't think of it by saying beach and wave straight away. You're going to be thinking underwater and tropical. There's so many uses for it, as you will see, as a generic pattern. It's very, very nice, almost a bit Art Deco design within it as well, if you use it in slightly different ways. But there's some terrific designs here by Sue, where she's used just the top portion of it, layered up in multicolours there. Obviously the backgrounds, using that with some of the glitter jewels behind on a double-sided sheet. Looks absolutely stunning. Very, very quick, effective way to create a really nice background. Obviously underwater and waves is very much the theme here with what Sue's put together for us on these designs. I just want to show you what some of the design team have come up with. And here's the first one by Siobhan. And I think this is an absolutely stunning idea, actually. This is a great idea. This is actually the shrink plastic, the heated up shrink plastic. If you've got some of that maybe in your craft room, then this is using the message in a bottle die and colouring it up and shrinking it down. I love this idea. Sometimes I see things, I almost forget about those sort of techniques. I haven't used them for a while. But there is that beach wave design in the background. You can see just how generic it is. Nothing to do with the beach or waves at all. It's just a really, really nice, quite a masculine design, actually. So a great job there of using the die to emboss through and keep it all in one piece. So that's one of the many designs here. I must give a shout out. Thank you very much, Yvonne. So lovely, lovely designs here. Really nice, effective with the glitter in the background there, the ultrafine glitter from Cosmic Shimmer on the adhesive sheet. And we've got some used, the die being used here. I imagine she's probably cut it out and actually made her own stencil here, either in cards, a 1 or 2 use, and layered up to make a background there. A bit of matte layering with some of Sue's dies as well, which is very nice. Nice little compact little cards. I absolutely love this idea. You'll love this. So this is the message in the bottle die used in its truest sense. It's just the bottle inner and outer die in its own. She's even got a lovely little stamp on the back, a gift for you. I think that's a great idea. We forget sometimes you're making gift tags for your presents, and maybe even a hanger for your children's bedroom, maybe a mobile. Lots and lots of different ideas that you can use with these types of dies, as well as using it just as a shaker or the beginning of a shaker card. Got another background there with some nice sort of tropical leaves around it. That's been, looks like she used some of our opal polishes on there. Gives a really nice two-tone effect, if you can see that there. If I just hold that up a little bit closer, you may be able to see some of the detail that's come through on that background. So again, using it to emboss through and leaving the detail in. We've got a lovely little card here, almost like a little gift card. Again, almost could be used as a really nice little fancy tag. Just really using that one background die completely as its own feature piece. Really like that. Really nice idea. Again, combination here of the stencils on the background. I want to Sue's Trio Aperture cut-out dies that's been used here to help format this card base. Really nice DL card. Always very popular size, nice and compact. And another DL card here, and this is bringing all of them together here. So I think Siobhan's done a lovely job here with a real nice traditional shaker card. And you've always got the same problem when you shake it and you're not going to be able to see the card. So I'll keep it still, but you can see the idea. We've got the lovely DL shape there with the background of the beach waves, again being used in a stencil format, but also using the message in a bottle, and also those set of clear bottle shape, the treat cups that we've got in today's treasure hunt as well. So that's included. And she's popped in some sequins and some other bits and goodies in there as well. Of course, you can always put sweets or maybe a gift card or some rolled up money could go in there as well. And then finally, another idea from Siobhan, and I'll be sharing something with you, showing you how you can make something very, very similar to this actually. And this is using the same die in the background again, but also pulling in the copper metallic micro beads and using that with double-sided sheets, also using it as a shaker card again with the treat cups. And I think that's an absolute stunning card. And actually that's kind of where I'm going to go with the demonstration to show you in just a while. I'm just going to leave those cards on my craft desk there before I clear them up and make a start, because there's some lovely inspiration and ideas there. I think it's all about sharing ideas, and these treasure hunt packs are very much giving you an opportunity to have a go at something maybe a little bit different. Maybe you've not tried, maybe you want to gift it to somebody. It's a great opportunity to get a really good value craft project all in one go. You know, it's all going to work together, and we've kind of sat there running around the workshops and around the warehouse, finding all the bits that's going to work together for you. So the actual die itself, I just wanted to show you this. This is the Making Waves die, and this is how you could maybe make it just as a stencil in its own right. That's just showing a background with some of our Cosmic Shimmer polishes in the background, but just that as a background, as we've already seen what Siobhan's done on some of these cards, can look very, very stunning. And I've done that in a card previously that I've made here. I just wanted to share with you. Again, just even seeing glimpses of it around the corner of a card, and that's obviously very much a beach theme there. But again, it's just how you can use that one background piece in so many different ways. As I say, it's a real star of the show in this week's treasure hunt pack that I've put together for you, that die without a doubt. So we just pop those to one side. I will share some of these a little later on for you. But don't forget, you can obviously watch back these videos time and time again here on Facebook or YouTube, Instagram, wherever you may be watching it at the moment. So if you do go ahead and grab one of these packs for yourselves, or maybe a couple for a friend as well, and you want to turn around and watch back exactly what I've done and maybe follow me on, then that's fantastic. That's what it's all about. And also, don't forget, when you've made something, I always like to see what people's made. So do make sure you comment down below and share your makes with these treasure hunts, because it's always great to see what other people come up with. And that's what craft's all about. At the end of the day, it's sharing ideas and crafting together. Now, I'm just going to open up these treat cups and take out one of these. I'm going to have a little closer look at those. I'll just put the packaging to one side. And these dies as well that I will be using. So we'll pop those to one side, come back to those in a while. And the micro beads. So these are our treat cups, as I say, working perfectly with Sue's dies here for the message in a bottle that we've got. The idea being that you've got the outer die that can frame your opening that we've got there. Let me just move that to one side, you can see what we're doing. And also this inner die will cut the aperture you need perfectly for your treat cup to show through. But also, as we know from what we've seen from Siobhan, mate, it's a perfect die in its own right to make a embellishment, or a, in this case, a door hanger or a tag. So you can think about it in lots of different ways. But these two dies with the treat cup is where you can really come into its own with the shaker cards. So we're going to have a look at exactly that idea. And I come up with a very similar design to Siobhan. I was thinking more along the lines of celebrations and birthdays and sort of champagne. And I've been using lots of the micro beads, and I've kind of gone for a very different palette of colours, using Simon Hurley's Over the Moon colour that's in the treasure hunt pack that I've put together, to bring in the yellow and the copper and sort of tie it all together. And then I've used the two ink pad colours, which I'll show you later on, to actually make up and colour the inside of the bottle, which shows through the shaker card there that you can see inside. So I've also used that to colour up the cork, and then mix the colours together to give me that green colour as well. So lots of thought going into what colours we're going to pick for you in these packs. It's just nice to see how you can mix them together, as well as using them neat straight out of the ink pad. And I've gone ahead and done it in such a way so the aperture is right the way through the card. So I'm going to show you how I've done that in various stages. So let's make a start now. I'm going to pop this card to one side over there for safekeeping. Put these here, and we'll make a start straight away with the very, very first step. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and, using some of Sue's Noble dies, this is the Pierce Square collection, I've gone ahead and cut out a frame that fits in absolutely perfectly over the top of the Beach Waves background die. So if you've not seen these before, make sure the link's down below. And if you've got any questions as I'm going on, obviously I'm busy crafting at the moment, but either some of the Creative Expressions team will comment back or help answer some of your questions, or I can come back to you afterwards when I've finished here. But do make sure you post any questions or comments below as well, or what you like, or maybe something different, or any ideas. So we're going to colour up this frame here first. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to use the Over the Moon ink pad and one of the Woodware blending tools that we've got here. So I'm just going to apply some of the ink down here onto my craft sheet that I've got, I'm working on, and just start to pick up some of that neat straight off the craft sheet onto my blending tool. Now, because these are dye-based and they're ranging, they're going to be high quality, really juicy. There's lots and lots of ink on them. Actually, just going to take a little bit off already because it's transferred off my craft sheet and off the ink pad very, very well. I'm just going to blend that into there. Make sure if you ever do this, you just give your sponges a bit of a wash if it's the first time you've used them, just to kind of prime them. Otherwise, you find they don't really carry the ink too well. Once you've used them a few times, the older they are, the better, actually. I'm just going to go around the inner aperture of this die and just start to blend in ever so slightly, a very, very light, just going in sort of a 1/4 of an inch or so, so 5 mil around the edge, just making that area a little bit darker than what I'll be doing with the rest of it. So this is just pulling in a little bit of that over the moon, the yellow colour that we got in today's show. And it's just to add a bit of interest and just to frame up what we're going to be doing with the rest of the design later on. So just work that around there. I'll just do this very quickly. So just light touches of blending. These are blending inks. They blend absolutely fantastically. If you're familiar with a distress ink, they're very similar in terms of them being water reactive. Obviously, it's a different colour palette, but the blending nature of these are such that they do blend lovely into the card. I'm just using some of the coconut white foundation card here as well. I'll make sure the links for that are down below for you in the description. Foundation card range is huge. It's absolutely massive range of colours. Very popular, the coconut white, the bright white, the blacks. Real essential cardstock to keep in your craft room all the time. So I'm just going to work around the corners, and this is something you can just carry on going until you're happy with the blend that you've got. Not forgetting that there's going to be a lot more detail added to this. So this is a great little technique to not get too worried or hung up about if it's completely even or what you're looking for, because in a minute, once we start to finish off the rest of this, it's just adding really a little bit of detail around the edges of our card just to frame that up. Let me just put that to one side, take up that ink, and we will move on to the next stage. So what I've got here is some of the Woodware red liner tape that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to go around the edge of my card here like so, making sure that it lines right up to the edges like so, and just snick off the excess there. There we go. And what I've done here is I've gone ahead, I'm not really cheated, but I've got another one here that I've just jumped forward a little bit, and I've gone ahead and just put the red tape all the way around. Now what you want to make sure you do, I'm just going to peel off this red liner tape now, is, I don't know if you can see what I've done there. What you really want to do is actually lay down 2 pieces, peel them off, and then lay down the next 2 pieces so you don't get this little blank edge here. But I've done that deliberately just to show you, one for speed now, but also just to show you, if you like, what not to do. The better idea would be to lay down your tape, and as you go, peel off the 2 that you've done opposite, and then when you lay down the next one, as I'm now going to do, just to finish this off, you can actually lay the tape over the top of your tape, and in that way you won't get any of the card not covered around the edge with a tape. And in effect, what we're doing here is we're just creating a sticky frame, if you like, around the outside of our frame. So on the inside, we've got our, down there, we've got our blended over the moon coloured ink pad, ink, and then we've got our sticky border around the outside that you can see there. So really nice and simple. Now I'm going to bring in our metallic micro beads, the copper ones that we've got here. And I'm just going to add some detail around the outside of these. Now, I've got here a plastic box and also one of our applicator sponges. I tend to keep an applicator, they come in packs of 6, again, links are down below. I tend to keep 1 or 2 of these just for micro beads, another one just for certain colours of gilding flakes, because they will get, not dirty, but they will hold some of the micro beads in there. So you don't really want to, you want to keep one specifically for certain items. But like I said, they come in packs of 6 anyway, and that's the reason, so you can do that. So I'd grab a few of those. Micro beads come with a little clear top. I don't know if you can see that shining there. So you need to remove that lid first. And this is because they really are very, very small. They really are micro. You can have a little look there, just see how tiny those are, but they are absolutely amazing to work with them. Because they're so small, you literally can apply them straight over the top of this tape or a double-sided sticky sheet, and create a really nice textured background. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to sprinkle those over, and you can see why I work inside these little plastic pots, because I don't have to worry too much about picking them up or picking up a sheet afterwards. I can put them all down, and then I can just tip the box and tip those back in when I'm finished. So let's just work those around like so. So to begin with, I'm just going to use my finger just to make sure they're burnished into the, a little bit there, into the tape. And then I can use the applicator sponge just to work those around and really just brush off the excess. And they are very, very fine, but because they're a little bit heavier weight, they do tend to drop quite nicely down into the pot. And they're quite clean to work with, actually. So let me just brush off the excess. And you can see that real novel, I'll bring it up to the camera so you can have a closer look in a moment, that sort of real novel texture that we've got around the edge of our card. It just looks like a copper colour, but it is actually got a really nice texture with all those micro beads around. Now we're going to work that up a little bit more. Let me just brush off those excesses around there one more time using my fingers. Take them off the back of the card if there's any. No, they're all looking good. Just pop that to one side, and I will come back to that in 2 minutes. And then I'm going to, I would normally leave these in here for after, but I'm going to need these again in a moment. They can be a little bit static, so an anti-static bag can sometimes help just to control these back into the pot if you anti-static your plastic pot. But I'm just going to put the majority of ththose back in. Again, I tend to keep one of these plastic boxes per sort of project that I'm working on. It's only because I'm tending to use them all the time, so the micro beads that are loose in there can stay in there until I need them again. Let me put that to one side. I'm going to use that again in a little bit. And I'll bring back in that one we were working, and I'm just going to bring in one other product here just to add to our card frame that we've got on the front here, and that's some Olympic Gold 3D pearlescence. Again, link for that will be below. Come in a great multitude of colours. If you've seen me on Hobby Maker or maybe on here before, you know I'm a bit of a fan of the 3D pearlescence. I love the, as I call them, pearls in a bottle, and I've used them in many different ways, and this is exactly how I'm going to use them here now, is in a very traditional pearl sense. And we're just going to start to add a little bit of detail into the corners of the card. So it's got a bit of scrap kitchen roll there just to take off the first bit. And I'm just going to very, very lightly squeeze, almost let them come out on their own, and it will automatically form a little round pearl just like that where you need it automatically. They don't level flat, but they do automatically just dome. And then I can just literally touch the card for the last couple and just create a couple of different size little pearl drops. If I just hold those up, you can see how they have absolutely perfectly formed there, and they stay quite nicely stuck. And they're, over the course of about an hour, they'll be dry and you'll be able to carry on working on the rest of your card. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of detail in the corners like this. And then what I'm going to do in the top left corner is I'm actually going to add quite a few of these in many different sizes and ways. So this is a great way, if you've not done these before, this is a nice way of just practicing. I'm literally, it's almost just like piping. I'm just touching the card and lifting straight back up. If I want a small one, little small pearl, and if I want a larger pearl, just giving the bottle a little bit of a squeeze, so a little bit more of the product comes out. So I'm just going to build up, I won't do too many, but it gives you the idea of where I'm going. And the idea is this is going to form those sort of champagne bubbles that I was kind of trying to go for with the design. So it's this, this top left-hand corner here that we've got. And you can see how different they look when they actually dry. They have got a real nice, that Olympic gold colour coming through, real nice pearl gold coming through there. So once that's dry, we'll just pop that to one side. We're going to have something that looks like that. So that's our card frame all inked up with the micro beads and everything else all around and done. Looking absolutely stunning. And we can move on to the background piece now that we've got here. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. We'll come back to that in a moment. So what I've got here, I've got some of the brown cardstock that I've pre-cut out using our waves background, the beach waves background. And I've just wanted to show you that because this is how Siobhan would have used maybe some of the stencil work, possibly. She may have used some mask material, or actually cut it out of card just for a 1 or 2 use stencil. You can absolutely go ahead and do that. And then you can actually use your dies to make stencils. Some of the dies work better than others. This is an absolute perfect one to turn into a stencil because it's got plenty of areas that are all held together. So you can actually go ahead there and blend through using some of the inks that I've included in this week's treasure hunt bundle as well. So it's just a different way you can use it and think about using your die as a stencil as well. But I've gone ahead and taken it a little stage further, and I've got a piece of card cut the same size just behind, and that's got some adhesive double-sided sticky sheet applied to it already. And I am going to just take off my backing. So this is some Woodware double-sided adhesive sheets that we've got here. Take off that little bit there. And I'm just going to keep that backing sheet that I had. Don't throw that away. We're going to use that to push down and level off our die. So I'm now going to apply over the top of this double-sided sheet the die that I had already cut out. So this is our beach wave die. I'm just going to, now you can see there, so I've got obviously a sticky area showing through there. You can just see that shining in the camera on that brown background, and that's still obviously completely sticky. The nice way of working like this is your die is now completely stuck down, and you've also got the great added benefit of a whole area there that's all covered with adhesive sheet, ready to stick whatever you want to on there. It could be gilding flakes, but in this case, we're going to use our little star of the bundle here, the micro beads, the copper micro beads again in a moment, to give that lovely colour. I love the colour of them, almost like the colour of your dies. If you love this sort of colour that the metal is made of, very, very, very similar sort of colour that gives you a lovely feeling. Hence the browns and the yellows all working together really nicely on the design. So what I want to do now is to take my die bottle, the message in a bottle die, and I'm going to use this to actually cut through all of this in one go. So what I want to do is apply back my die sheet that I've got here, the sticky sheet that I've got here. And I'm just going to just put this in reverse actually. Just going to pop that down and place that across diagonally, knowing that it's going to fit with inside that inner frame. So I'm just going to kind of do this loosely by eye. I know that that's going to be kind of okay. Now this can be not tricky, it's easy to do, but obviously we're going to try and hold something down in place onto a piece of tape or background that is designed to not be sticky. So I'm really using low tack tape just to loosely hold something very, very carefully, just in place, just long enough until it goes through the machine. So that's all I want to do. And I'm using my carrier sheet just to do that. So let me just work that up. I'm going to place that over the top of my die like so, and then we'll go over the top with the rest of our sandwich. I'm going to feed that through the machine, and then I will show you how that's going to look. Feed that through now. So it can have a tendency to move sometimes. We'll see how that's going to come out. I have got what I've done here previously. It's a little bit fiddly when you're filming at the same time, but hopefully it's also just to show you how with these dies you can cut through quite nicely with all of the somebody's in the office trying to get hold of it. Let's remove all of those out of the way. There we go. And then you can see what I've done here is just held it in place long enough just to cut that away. So I've actually cut through the die, the card, and the double-sided sticky sheet all in one go, and it's retained what I've got there now. So we've now got our hole right the way through the design, but we've retained all that sticky sheet that's there. So let me just pop that to one side. And I'm going to go ahead and work this up now with the micro beads that we had previously. So I'm going to get my box back out again. Just going to cover a little area of this because you've seen me use these already, but I'm going to use them exactly the same way. But this time, rather than the double-sided red liner tape, I've got the much larger area with the adhesive sheet. So I'll just do that area down the bottom. And you can see, actually, it covers very, very quickly. Let's do it all because it's too good to waste. I can finish this one off afterwards. I've got one I've done previously just for speed, but I do love the two colour combinations of this dark, rich sort of cocoa brown and the copper little micro beads. It's just a bit like Siobhan used on her sample card that I was showing you with similar type of colours. And I think it does look really, really nice. Excuse me 2 seconds, you tell us live. I'm going to just silence that phone because somebody's clearly trying to get hold of me to ask how I'm doing something. Just bear with me 2 seconds, I'll be straight back. There we go, that's done. Right, and there is our finished piece for the background. So you can see how easy that was to create that background using the die and just adding in the sticky sheet and the micro beads. You get a lovely, lovely finished effect. So let me just pop my lid back on top of there and put the excess from my box later on there. I'm going to pop that to one side and bring back in that finished frame that we had earlier on, which is that one there. And I can then bring this back in, and I'm going to actually just lay the two up on top of each other. You can see where we're now going with this. So I'm just going to apply some, for quickness, we'll go around with some of our Cosmic Shimmer glue. That will work absolutely fine on here. Just to go around the edge of that frame, just don't need to get in too close. We're not finished with this just yet. We've got a little bit more to work up just yet. There we go. And I'm just going to frame that, making sure that I've got the champagne bubbles, as I call them, in that corner there. There we go, just stick that down, and that's nicely framed up. And you can see how that bottle's nicely central, and that's the way to really handle it. You need to cut it all through in one go. You need to get all your layers, including your adhesive sheet, and then just use the die. It quite happily will cut through 2 or 3 layers all in one go like that. And then that gives you your card front that's coming up quite nicely there now. And obviously you can mount this around any way you want, put the bottle where you want, DL card like we saw Siobhan done. So lots of different ways you can handle this. Let's have a closer look. Let's pop that to one side at our treat cup. So this is how they come. You get 5 in the pack, and I've got one here that I've gone ahead and I've put some of that same red liner tape just around the back of my card already. Sorry, the back of the treat cup already. Now the nice thing with the way I'm showing you here is you don't have to use sort of foam tape and things like that that you would possibly normally do with a shaker card. If you're familiar with shaker cards, you may create a void between 2 layers of card using some foam tape and then trap in between your product that you're going to put in there, your sequins or your glass beads, whatever it may be. Well, with the treat cups, it does all that hard work for you. The great thing with these treat cups is they are that void. So all you've got to do is stick these down where you want, fill it with what you want, and you're good to go. You don't need any foam tape or anything. So I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. I know I've used these, I'm sure I will be using them again in the future on here. And I just think they're different, slightly different way of working with normal shaker cards. So what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and pour in some of these magnificent micro glass beads into our bottle carefully. Let's hold them up and have a little look. Don't need too many. You can see it's a huge, huge pot. It's 300 grams, this pot. So you could even use these down onto a sticky sheet or something like that. But I just want to fill about half of the bottle up. So there's plenty of room for the beads to still shake. And they're a nice size to work with. They don't go everywhere. They're not messy. And I've got a sheet of acetate here. I'm just going to apply over the top, like so, of my treat cup. That's now encapsulated those little micro beads all the way inside of that treat cup bottle. And already, there we go. We've got our little, I absolutely love shaker cards. I think they're magnificent. There's so many different ways you can treat them. You can mix those up. I think they just look quite fun just with the glass beads in the pack that I've put in here for you. So I would then just go around and trim off the excess of the tape that I've got here. So not the treat cup. You can do this quite quickly. Really doesn't matter because all of this is going to be covered over. We're going to sandwich this in between. Put that to one side. So you've got something that looks just like that. There we go. So I've gone ahead one stage further. There's mine all finished off, and I've just gone ahead and put some more red liner tape around that edge. So right where I had it on the reverse, I've now got it on this side. So you can see the dimension there, because what we're going to do ultimately is we're going to offer this up through the aperture. And you can see there, it fits absolutely perfectly through that die cut that we made earlier on, because it's all designed to work together. And then on the reverse, you can see here that that's where that little ridge around the outside of the treat cup, that little excess sort of bleed area, is what we're going to use to actually stick it down. And then everything's nicely held in place, and the treat cup is also, with all its micro beads inside, is all held in securely, because, like I said, you don't need foam tape or anything. You can just use my pokey tool here to take off the tape. There we go. Like I said, everything on this bundle today, the whole thing, is $29.99 for all the goodies that I was showing you at the beginning. I'll have a quick review at the end, just to remind you. I've brought in, yep, some tape and some of the glues and things, which I said all the links are down below. If you're interested in any of those bits as well. So let's just offer that over the top. I've got my tape over all off, and there we go. Just pop round, bit of pressure around the edge, and that's going to lift up quite nicely. There we go. We've already got the front of the shaker card coming together quite nicely. We're just going to clean up the back of that card. I'm going to show you how I've done that very quickly. Got here a card blank that I've made up. So it's that same square shape and size that I've used for my card front right the way through this. I believe it's just slightly over 6 by 6. I've used one of Sue's Noble dies. Yeah, I'm 6.5 by 6.5. So you could use a 7 by 7 card cut down, which is what I did. And it's one of Sue's Noble dies that I used to actually help frame all this up, because they all fit nicely together within and around the die that I've included. So what I've done here with this is I'm just going to mount that onto the front of the card. But before I did that, I actually just went ahead, offered that over the top, and I then just marked out where the bottle was roughly, and then used that same die that we used previously to cut through the front of the card. So I just used that to line up. Now, what I did first is before I put that bottle in place, what I should have just mentioned to you is there's the one I'd done earlier, is I used that, took a pencil, drew around the inside, removed it, and then I just placed my die over the top where the pencil line was. So I know that the two are going to match up, we hope, absolutely perfectly when I glue this on the front. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to very quickly put some glue around the back of our project here and mount that on the front. So this is just going to clean up what we've got there and really bring our project very close to an end. I'll put a little bit of glue around the plastic there as well. And really it's just about cleaning up, because this is already all glued together and held in place. So it's just a case of mounting it onto our card blank. So let's do that now. And hopefully, if I did all my lining up perfectly, it should sit on the front of that card quite nicely. We'll just press that down around there. You can obviously use some double-sided tape or glove, like using Cosmic Shimmer glue. It works very, very well across all of this card stock and the double-sided sheets. There's quite a bit of weight on here in the microbeads, but I have no problem holding on to all of that. And there we go. We've got our card now made up with a shaker card, and we've actually got the shaker card showing the aperture right the way through the card, so you can see it from the reverse, just a little bit different. And then it allows you to put a message inside or something like that. So what I actually did is I went ahead and I used that bottle die to cut out, a little bit like Siobhan did with the background here with this die. I just cut it out of some white cardstock. It was actually what I had left over from the card aperture that I cut out from here. So I've just used that same piece, so nothing's wasted. That's what I had there. And another quick tip, just to remind you, the piece that I obviously cut away from that double-sided sheet, that's what I've got there. So there's another project you can make with that, with your micro beads or maybe your glass beads, and actually make that into a tag maybe. So you've got a matching gift tag with this card. So don't forget about that piece that I removed, because that's obviously got everything there ready to go as well. So there's never any wastage here. And I'm just going to colour that up very, very quickly, because you've seen me do some blending before, but I just want to bring in a couple of blending tools here, the yellow and a blue one for the Remember Me, that's it, the blue colour. And I'm just going to use a little bit of the yellow for the Over the Moon for the cork area. I'm going to apply a bit to that. And you can see I'm not going to be too too exact for this because I'm actually going to go around and add a fair bit of yellow colour around the edge of the bottle as well, because I just want to blend that in, because we're actually going to mix the colour, the yellow and the blue together to create that bottle green colour that I had. And I'm going to mix those colours on the actual die cut itself using a couple of passes of blending. So let's just take a little bit of that out onto my craft sheet. There we go. It's a better way of working, taking your ink pad to your craft sheet. If you have got anything on there, it doesn't go onto your ink pad. I know I tapped it on there, so do as I say, not as I necessarily always do. Right, and then let's just blend that around the edges, just very, very lightly. And you can see already I'm starting to get that sort of bottle green and blue colour coming through. And if I just blend those two together a little bit more there, hopefully you can see that starting to change shade. And all I'm going to do is just apply a little bit more ink and a little bit more pressure and gradually just work that colour round. So I just end up with this highlight in the middle of my die cut, in the middle of the bottle. And the more of that Remember Me blue colour that I add, the greener and greener that bottle's going to become. And I can just add a little bit more on one side than the other, and it just gives it a little bit of shading. So I'm just going to stop there, and I'll show you how it will look if I were to keep going. I don't want to bore you too much because you want to see the finished card. So you can just see there already how that, we've got a yellow and we've got the blue, and we've now generated a nice bottle green colour there and made use of the cork for the yellow for the cork as well. So I just carry on working that up a little bit more and a little bit more, adding a little bit more blue. And how that's going to look when that's completely finished is like that. I've just darkened it down ever so slightly. It's just a very, very quick way of working. And it's, at the end of the day, it's just going to add a little bit of detail on the inside of the card. So I'm going to place that down there, and I'm going to put some glue onto that die cut bottle. I'm just going to close the card down, pick up that die cut. Yep, there we go. And I've got a bit of inky hands now, so I will just do that, save getting any ink on the inside of the card, and then push that down. And now what we've done is we've actually created a bit of interest. We've got the shaker card, we've got our champagne bottle, or could be a beer bottle or anything, hot bottle inside, all nicely coloured. But when you open the card, you've still got your bottle, two of them coming together almost. They're just a very, very different idea. I'm sure you could come up with lots of concepts to take it even further on the inside of the card as well. So the final little bit in this die pack, just not to forget, you've got a lovely little sentiment. And all I've done with that is on my finished card, which I'll just bring in to remind you. So there's the finished one. There's the one we've all just made together here on the left. Is on this one here, I've actually gone ahead and stuck the sentiment on the plastic itself, on the actual treat cup. And that is the sending good wishes your way. And all I did with that is I used some of the Remember Me ink onto a piece of the coconut white cardstock. I used the die that comes in the message in a bottle. I cut that out and I removed the excess. And I actually left all the pieces. They will stay into this die quite nicely, all pre-cut. And then I just layered that down on top of the bottle like that, having applied some glue with fine nib glue bottle, pressed it down, and then it allowed that all to stay in place. So I didn't have to position it all carefully. I actually just used the die to position it. So you'll see that that lines up absolutely perfectly through there. And I just did that to finish it off over the top of that one. And I can just probably show you ever so quickly what I mean by that. Just if I cut that little piece out, then it will stay in position there. And I can then pull that excess off and then just show you how that actually does stay in the die quite nicely. Let's just pull that through very quickly. There we go. And I think you can see how this little set is very, very versatile. This is one design that you can do. You can see Siobhan's taken on here, sort of similar colourway, but very, 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 very different take on what I've done as well in terms of what she's filled the bottle with. There's lots of different ways you can do that. So all I did was literally took away the excess like that because it works very, very well. There's only a couple of tiny areas in the middle where you just got to poke out the centre of some of the letters. Too difficult at all, just like so. And then I went ahead with, I actually just decanted some of the glue into a fine nip nozzle, traced that around the cutout, and then I used that to actually go straight on top of my bottle like that with the glue in place. And then I just used a pokey tool just to make sure it eased its way away, and then it came quite nicely. I'm very mindful of your evening's time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I hope that you've really enjoyed what we've done here today. I'm just going to pull everything together just to remind you what you've got on the treasure hunt today. You've got the 2 ink pads that we use to colour up the bottle, to do the blending, and also to colour up the sentiment there that I just showed you. We've got Sue's Beach Waves design in the die, and also the message in a bottle die, which is a 3-part die there with the outer, the centre, and obviously the sentiment that I've used there at the end. You've got your fabulous treat cups that I've included in today's treasure hunt. You've got the microcopper beads, you've got the glass beads as well there that I've included. You get 5 of the bottles there in that one pack. So you can use this in many different ways to do anniversaries, like I said, champagnes, or any sort of celebration. And then you've got a finished card that's going to look something just like that, with just the addition, like I said, of a few of the products below that we will list there for you as I'm working through this, with the adhesive sheets and some of the 3D pearlescence there, just to add a little bit more detail. But there's lots of different ways and lots of different things you can fill up inside of these treat cups, without a doubt. So I'm just going to lay back down some of the designs that we have in various different ways here from Sue, and also Siobhan as well, with the dies that have been used in today's treasure hunt. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I said, if you are really interested, I would grab one. It's only while stocks last. The offer lasts just a week at $29.99 for all of the items that I showed you there just a moment on my craft desk. RRP is normally $58.94, so a terrific saving on the RRP for today's treasure hunt. And I said, very universal, good all year round little kit that you can have some real good fun with. So I hope you've really enjoyed today's treasure hunt. Don't forget that we are here every Thursday at 6 o'clock on UK time, and that offer is for free postage within the UK as well. If you've got any comments, as I said, please do comment down below there as well, any questions, and we will come back to you as soon as we finish crafting here, and all of the links are there as well. And if it's the first time you found us, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you know when we are back on next Thursday at 6 PM. And until then, happy crafting, everyone. I'll see you all again very soon.